this episode of The Art of Action Figures, SH Figuarts, Dragon Ball Z, Android 19. This is a premium Bandai exclusive or Tamashii Web exclusive, depending on where you live. I have yet to take him out of the box. I am excited to see how they've engineered such a unique character design. A ton of faces for Android 19 himself, but also a bit of DLC faceplate for the Super Saiyan Vegeta Awakened Super Saiyan Blood. We're going to go through unboxing the figure, trying out some of the accessories, moving the joints. I'll let you know if there are any problems that I run into with either of those. We'll also try the faceplate on Vegeta. I really like how SH Figuarts does the packaging for their Dragon Ball line. It's been pretty consistent throughout the line. There were some older boxes done for 1.0 figures that have a bit different design. I think I like this design a lot better. It shows the figures off in a lot more detail. We get some really nice, I don't know if these are taken from the promotional photos, but I always love to see good figure photography on the boxes. And this is a great facial expression. Very excited to try that one on. It shows off the little energy absorption pads on his palms. Bandai, Tamashii Nations, Dragon Ball Z, something I can't read. Toei Animation hologram sticker, so you know it's authentic. You also have the Tamashii Nations quality seal, telling you the same thing. Ages 15 and up, and small parts, not for children under 3. Let's see, product may differ from photo, and designed by Tamashii Nations in Japan, Bandai Spirits made in Vietnam. I think there is a lot more complexity behind the scenes than the region of manufacture, how the quality of the figure is going to turn out. So I don't put a whole lot of stock in where the figures are made. Okay, flipping around to the right-hand side, I love the way these display vertically when lined up. I like how they seem to pick accent colors from the characters. Here we have the kind of orangey brown of his pants. And then I really like, usually one of these photos will show a close-up of the character's face, and I think this was a great choice. You can even see a bit of his destroyed arm there. Shot of his foot doesn't do a whole lot for me, but this another shot of his creepy energy absorption palm. Up at the top, there's a little bit more window, so you can get some light down in the box. Flattering angle there. Around the backside, we have a bunch of promotional photos. We have Vegeta here for a little bit of cross-sell, and it does say face part for separately sold SH Figuarts Super Saiyan Vegeta Awakened Super Saiyan Blood is included. That's this. I'm surprised they didn't show Android 20, but I guess he's not out yet, so this is kind of the first appearance look. Gave him that side-eye expression. They gave him this sort of maniacal laughing expression. Every villain needs one of those. Even the D-tier ones. This shocked, damaged expression is really good. And then this sort of got the upper hand on Goku expression. It's also quite good. SH Figuarts, simple style, heroic action. I think what they mean by that is kind of blending sculpt and articulation. SH Figuarts does a really great job balancing those things. And yeah, we'll see how they did with this very unique character. All right, then around this side, not too interesting, just a bit of window from the side. And on the bottom, you get the side-eye face. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and open this box. Just a little bit of tape on the right-hand side here. I'm going to go ahead and slice that with a knife. Do be careful if you are using a sharp object to do something like this. I will also take the blade of my knife and I'll stick it under the flap here, push it towards the back, and there we go. We got a nice clean opened flap nice and flat, and here we see some instructions. Okay, let's see. I think that there may be some more instructions printed under the other flap, but we're just not going to take a look at that. I think I can manage without. And on the inside, you see that lovely, lovely orange printed throughout. Now there's no longer a backdrop paper or panel or any kind of instruction paper. It's just the rest of the box nicely printed. All right, now we've got him in his tray here, so let's go ahead and go over the accessories while we have them all arranged nicely. We have 5 alternate face parts. Really love when they give the characters a ton of facial expressions, especially lately with the way they're printing the faces. I mean, just look at these. They came out incredible. I've seen some printing errors, but these appear to be okay. It's mostly been on this default face. Some of the eyes I've been seeing come out off center. So definitely check that out and get in touch with Bandai support if you need. Look into the sides. We have maniacal laughter, slightly less maniacal laughter, and then shock horror, getting stomped in the face. And of course, just a sort of default neutral plain expression, if you want to call it that. Other great features, his hat is removable, and you can replace it with this translucent dome, which has some circuitry inside, and we'll show that detail close up. I believe this works with any of the face parts, although I think it's mostly meant for this damaged one. Then we have a pair of fists, a pair of open hands, a pair of grabbing hands, and a pair of sort of flat chopping hands. Interchangeable forearms for when Vegeta does the rip, and then the face for Vegeta when he does that. So really, really love the accessory count here. I can't think of anything else I would have wanted to come with this. I think they went all out, honestly. So I'm pretty impressed. Of course, he comes with his drinking straw for his bubble tea. Joking, we'll get to what that's for. All right, now as we lift open the tray, I'm going to try very carefully to grab it from this tab and not let the accessories go flying all over the place. No tape here, just some tabs fit into either side. I think we managed to get that. So he has a little plastic waistband here for preventing any kind of paint rub around the waist area. In the package, go ahead and just, you can kind of see it's got a little tab, and you can just pull that tab and it usually will come out. Usually they're cut on the opposite side of the tab. And here we have him, Android 19 in, not quite in the flesh, I don't know what you would call him, in the porcelain. Probably an excellent material for the ultimate fighting machine. His hat is 2 colors. I think the black is painted, and then the red ribbon logo, of course, on the forehead. Really nice, clean gold paint around the earrings there. You can see the face print. This one looks like a good one, thank goodness. Not too much going on in the face. It's pretty clean. Mouth line, eyes, eyebrows. And that's pretty much the extent, but it is true to the design. Sort of cybernetic porcelain doll going down his costume here. Even more details. So I think this white is painted on, and it's a little bit splotchy at the bottom there, you can see, but not too serious. The inner collar is a separate piece. I think the white is also painted on there, and that trim is really nice. Yeah, that looks great. White trim around his vest, of course, all the way around the sides, top, bottom. and then it comes together at the front. Some nice details here on his vest. I'm noticing this red ribbon, I guess you could call it, is a separate piece of red plastic, it looks like, and then the white buttons are also separate pieces that are kind of inserted into the vest. This red ribbon matches his belt perfectly. I'm guessing these are from the same molding stage. You can also see how his vest is wrinkled as if it's stretched by the fastening of his buttons here. So he is pretty well strapped in there. I don't know if there's anything going on underneath. It looks like just more belt. On the arms, they are just this black shoulder poof here, and then his yellow inner sleeve, white hands. These hands don't have any detail on them, but the others will all have the open palm, which will show metallic red energy absorber pad. And I really like that nice metallic red paint on there. That looks fantastic. We also have the damaged forearm piece with the sleeve ripped, and then what looks like a separate metallic piece that maybe also got some metallic paint applied over it. So that's really good to see. Not too much going on this side. I wonder if these are labeled to let you know which side is which. Yeah. So if you look in there, you can see the letter L. So you know that's the left forearm. I'm not sure if it makes a big difference, but I always want to go with what they label it as. All right, and then down below we have his great poofy orange pants. There's a little bit of darker orange around sort of the bottoms of this fold. There's not really much shading down on the lower part of the leg. And then, wow, that is quite a knee. We'll talk about that situation when we go over articulation. But so far, nothing is really protesting when I try to move it. So that's good. And then down here, he has his little boot cuffs. So you've got the toe hinge, that's a separate piece. I think is black painted gray. The heel is then a separate piece, and it is also, I think, the same black painted gray. And then the tops of the shoes are actually separate white pieces with just a little bit of black. It does, in this case, sort of integrate the articulation into the design a little bit. And that's a really nice toe hinge. We'll go over all of that in a lot more detail. Flip him around to the back just to see if there's anything else going on back here. That's a lot of complexity in that knee. Okay, I think that's everything. And you can see each of his alternate faces has obviously a socket for the neck peg, but then they all also have this little hole, and that's actually what the little straw accessory is for. It is not a straw. You can see this is meant to fit under there, and it's just so that you can pop the hat or the dome off of the top. So here is the dome accessory. That is really cool. It has some paint around the rim. Okay, so I am attempting to put this dome with the wider part of the hole at the back, and I don't completely love how that's fitting on there. You can see a little bit of a gap. I don't know if it's just really meant to go only on the damaged head. It's not too bad, but I don't really see any reason for there to be a gap there. But yeah, this is really a nice piece. I think it's done in this white base plastic, then silver paint around the edge of this sort of like acrylic red dome. And then on the inside, it has the effect of those parts in there being silver seen through the dome. And then there's like a red inner dome. Very cool. Yeah, I would love to see more Toriyama mechanical pieces. I mean, model kits, whatever you gotta do, Bandai. I think that would be really nice. Let's go ahead and try out that dome on the head that I think it's meant for, which is this really great being destroyed face. Again, all the faces have the gold earrings painted, and then this one has some additional details, some scuffs for damage, lines around his mouth. He has a little bit of paint in the mouth, and then he's got a boot print from Vegeta's boot on his face there. Let's go ahead and pop the dome on. Okay, that one fits pretty cleanly. Can't really see a gap there. Then we've got, looking to the side here, a detail on this laughing face, of course, the inner mouth there painted red. And then smirking, getting the upper hand, and the flat palm hand, and there's like a pearly finish on his skin that I'm just noticing, and it looks great. It gives him, yeah, like I said, like a porcelain look. Very nice. His clenching, grabbing hand. Got a little bit of a seam going through there, but it's bound to happen somewhere. All these little absorption pads look really clean, so that's cool. Now I want to go over how swapping his head works, and we'll use this battle damaged head. I'm going to go ahead and put the open circuitry there on this one. And I love faces like this. I think it's used in, I mean, it's obviously derived from the scene where Vegeta rips off his arms, but I like having impact faces for these characters because they're taking a lot of hits. So to swap his head, I noticed you have to kind of lift under his chin, and then placing or attaching the new head is a little bit tricky. It's a bit like Majin Buu, Good Buu, if you've got that figure, where this peg is on the collar piece, which is on a ball, and tends to kind of rock around when you're pushing his head down. And it makes it want to do that, where it just like bends the hinge instead of popping into the socket. And so you've really got to line it up and press in just the right direction, or it's going to be wobbling. If you can figure out a better way to do this, I don't know. When I got it, it's actually, the peg was turned like this. Maybe that's the secret. Nope. Okay. This is definitely a character that would do something like this, so it's very important. Come on. Nope, we're taking him off camera to attach the head. So that was just to show you, it's kind of a pain. Okay, we finally got it. We'll go ahead and swap his alternate hands. Alright, so to swap his damaged forearms, you have to pull the forearm piece out, and that was pretty effortless, not too bad. About the right amount of effort. You don't want it to be totally effortless, but just a little bit of effort, not like scary amount of effort. Okay, and then we're going to take the right piece and push that over that exposed joint now. Easy. Okay. And then left arm, also pretty easy. As far as his like weight distribution, thanks to the amount of folds in his pants there, that's given him a little bit more weight towards his bottom. Center of gravity, let's see, if his arms are down. Yeah, it's somewhere in his waist, so that's pretty good. Let's see. Side to side is a little tricky though. It gets wider because he kind of gets wider at the top. I guess there's probably some ways around that depending on what the pose requires. But like for example, I was trying to get him like stumbling backwards and looking down at his hands. There we go. Or what's left of his hands, which is nothing. Now, I see that the original arms don't appear to be labeled the same way. So the alternate arms had an L and an R inside the top of the forearm there. I think this is the right one. But if you aren't sure, you can check based on the folds because they are opposite on either side. So this one matches the right labeled damaged arm. And then this one goes the other way and matches the left. But again, no label on either of these, so that's kind of weird. All of the heads have this silver detail in them around the top, so that if he is wearing the damaged head, the silver band like continues down with these little rivets. Very cool detail, and it's not just on the damaged head, it's on all of them, so that the damaged dome can also work on this head and it will still have the rivets painted in there. Very nice. And similarly, if you put the hat on any of the heads, it just covers the silver. So you can see how that works here. Yep, it just fits right over the rim there. And the hat is pretty easy to remove. The dome, I wouldn't recommend trying to like pick it off with a nail because you might scratch the paint. So I would definitely use the provided, use your boba straw here and just give it a little poke at the back and it comes out pretty easily. And then we'll, I don't know, for fun, let's swap the hat onto this head. So, damaged face with the hat, and then neutral face with the dome. That one fits nicely. Yeah, the only one that's had that little tiny gap is the laughing head for some reason. But yeah, so get your straw, give it a pop, and then to remove the hat, you can do the same thing. Take your straw and just very carefully push up, and you'll probably want a finger there to catch it. And there you go. Okay, and the final accessory is not for Android 19. It is this alternate face for Super Saiyan Vegeta Awakened Super Saiyan Blood, which is the kind of reissue of the original Cell Saga Super Saiyan Vegeta with, I don't know, remastered deco, if you want to call it that, updated version of this one. And main differences are just in color and then the face deco. But also there's a bit of a different finish on the hair, and that will be important because it means that you really would only want to use this face on the new Vegeta, which is kind of, I don't know, a sneaky way to get people who already have this one to buy the other one, if you ask me. So I don't love that. You can, kinda, I mean, it fits on the old Vegeta, and under the bright lights it actually doesn't look half bad. Under regular conditions it's gonna look a little bit off just due to how shiny the front bangs are, but if you wanted to take some photos with this, you could probably get away with it. There's a lot more line work on the new one, like around the eyes and nose, the bridge of the nose. But one thing I also noticed is the paint inside the mouth has two colors, so the tongue's a little bit lighter red than the back of the mouth, versus on the old one it's like all one kind of pinkish color, which is probably too bright for either color, but they only use one, and so it looks a little bright compared to the new one, which has kind of more of a shadow going on inside the mouth, which makes sense. And then the new Awakened Blood Super Saiyan Vegeta doesn't come with this shouting face. He has a shouting looking straight ahead face here. The old one came with this shouting looking to the side, and the box has him doing the Final Flash pose. I don't really remember him looking off to the side when he was doing that, but might be like from the manga or something. Anyhow, this Vegeta I think is still a great figure. He moves a little bit more smoothly, I noticed, than the new one, but the new one's good too. He's just got some audio effects. But this new face, instead of looking to the side, he now has this face looking down, and I didn't realize how cool looking down and shouting would be until I put this on and thought about kind of the number of times that we see Vegeta. I mean, usually you would use a shouting face for using an attack of some kind. And I mean, how many times has Vegeta fired an attack from up above somebody in the air? Like, it's not only good for that specific feet on 19's face pose, but you could even do kind of big bang attack, something like that. So and also when they're doing kind of like they're powering up they're also shouting quite a lot, and having them look forward makes it look like they're kind of going to attack somebody that they're looking at, versus like looking down like this gives him kind of a like concentrating kind of look, which they have sometimes when they're, I don't know, transforming. Has a lot of versatility for like fighting poses. So that works nicely. Okay. So, as far as including this with 19, if that was the only way to make this Vegeta figure on his own, $35, was to cut this face and throw it in with 19, I guess it's okay. But if not, if it's purely a sort of cross-sale tactic, go back and check out my Spider-Man comparison when I talk about like the business side of figure production intruding on the final product a little bit too much. This is another example of that. It's, I don't know, kind of my opinion that figures should come with accessories for the figures, especially because this is clearly a face taken from this exact same Vegeta mold. So they're gonna run that mold anyways. I don't know why they wouldn't print all the faces. I can see like Vegeta is a particularly interesting face character because his hairline, the way that they do it, it's usually attached, like the bangs are attached to the face, and they're actually done in the skin tone plastic and painted, versus the Goku faces are completely separate. So the bangs don't have to be painted, they can just be molded yellow. So maybe that's why the cost of this, including this last face, was too much. I've seen some comments, people saying that Android 19 is a little bit short, but you can see here he's definitely taller than Goku. I fooled you. Of course, that's only Goku with a heart virus, but if we look at Goku at just about to get a heart virus, he does only come up about to his shoulders, a little higher maybe, and I don't think that's necessarily wrong, especially in the animation, and that's just kind of the result of different animation studios taking liberties with the scale a little bit. So I think this scale works for me. The main things I would be concerned about more than his height were like his width. I think his width and his height, I mean, he's about square, and I think that gives him a pretty good balanced look. If either of those was off, stretched in one direction or the other, like if he was taller, he'd have to be wider too. Vegeta is just a little bit taller, but they're very similar in height, and depending on how you have them posed, like Vegeta is going to look pretty small. Like this, like the perspective makes a big difference too, I think. So I'm not too concerned about his height. Real quick, we'll run the articulation head to toe, ball hinge neck, ball joint at the base of the neck going into the torso, 2.0 style forward butterfly shoulders, and they work quite well. So you could say maybe 2.5 version of those, although they don't protrude outside the vest as much as like Piccolo, Proud Namekian, or Super Boo. But they work very well. They don't go backwards though. And then that's them going up. Obviously, we've been swiveling the arms around here. And then because of these poofy sleeves, there is actually kind of an extended ball hinge in there. That is ball and socket into the butterfly joint, and then there's a hinge kind of at the center of this poof. And instead of like your Goku or Vegeta style shoulder where the hinge goes on the outside, it's all internal here. And then there's just kind of a channel cut in the two sides of the shoulder at like 45-degree angles. That's pretty clever actually. So it gives you 90 degrees up with just like minimal exposed joint there. So it works pretty well. And then this piece, you might want to swivel it, but I don't think it's meant to. I think the swivel is just supposed to be at the bicep here based on the way the sleeve is sculpted. If you swivel this, I feel like it's going to scratch the inner shoulder poof there. So you get your swivel also here, so I would just use that. And that's where the bottom of the bicep, I guess, is done in this yellow. It's a separate piece, and it's pegged through the bottom of the sleeve into that hinge. And yeah, that all works pretty well. His elbows, he's got the sort of typical Figuarts double hinge, but he runs into the sleeve at a little less than 90 degrees. And then from the back, doesn't look too bad, and you can actually balance it a little better. There you go. Covers most of the gap, so that's good. Ball hinge wrists, normal for Figuarts. He has kind of a 2.0 style hinge into a ball peg torso, so there's a ball at the waist connected to a hinge connected to another ball that goes up into the torso. And he gets pretty good hula hoop. And then it's a really big hinge. It's almost like the Captain Ginyu hinge. Not quite that extreme, but it's closer to that than like Goku, for example. But you can see it does get a bit of a gap here, and the belt doesn't really slide up or anything to cover it. But that's about the extent of his ab crunch. Let's get this arm out there so you can see completely the angle. And then going backwards just a little bit, and then to the side. Not much without the hinge open. Open the hinge though, and you get pretty decent. Not a ton, but might be more than Goku actually. Let's see. Okay, Goku, you survived this round. Oh, and it also acts as a swivel too. And then he has more of a 3.0 style hip. There's no cap, which is a little strange to me because Android 20 has the cap. I kind of wish that they'd done their pants in the same, since they're kind of wearing the same costume. It's going to look a little odd. But that's from the back. And then you can see inside there, you've got kind of your swivel hinge for your 2.0 or 3.0 style hip, no more drop down ball pegs. And then probably the most unique thing here, except the shoulder, is his knees. Instead of the like 2.0 style kneecap piece on the outside, they have this kind of pants on the inside that's in 3 different pieces. And it doesn't look great with the shading that they did at the bottom here. I almost think that would be better without it, because kind of like with Turles, they didn't paint the knee joint pieces. They're a harder plastic. You can hear the higher pitch. And so they haven't painted them, and they're done in a different plastic, and the paint kind of makes the difference even greater. Like, you can compare it to the bottom, there's just a little bit of difference. But then with the dark orange shadow that they did there, it just sticks out a little bit more that this is much lighter. So it's not great. I'm a little bit more forgiving of mismatched colors when it's on joints. It's much more frustrating if like these yellows didn't match or something like that. So at least they've done the like exposed sculpted pieces in matching colors, and that's not too terrible. I mean, they've done this to Goku, so you know. And then his ankles have what appears to be a ball peg going into the boot. So he gets a little bit of a boot ball joint there. And then at the bottom, connecting to the foot, there's another double ball peg joint. And so he gets about that much tilt. And then pretty decent range going down. About 45 degrees going down. That's pretty good. And actually pretty good range going up too. And then on top of that, there's the toe hinge, which gets like a really significant amount of range. Probably more than you would want. Let's see. And then it actually goes down a little bit. I like that. It lets you pull off like a more natural kind of flying. He can't really put his feet together. Wasn't really expecting him to with the amount of poof. But yeah. Pretty well articulated overall. I mean, as far as like wide characters go, I think... Oh, I didn't show how these hips work going to the side. The hips get about 45 going to the side, which isn't as good as like Majin Buu, who can kind of, I think, get all the way up to 90 with those poofy pants, so I'm not real sure why these needed to be different. I guess they, Majin Buu has like more of a diaper poof, and this is more of a below the knee poof. And then going forward, they get about 45 as well. And then going back, not really, because of the butt. And yeah, so as far as the wider characters go, I think Majin Buu beats him a little bit on the lower body. But the upper body, I think, is probably the best like wide character upper body that they've done for Dragon Ball. I can't think of another one I can't think of another one that is better than this. Like Majin Buu doesn't have a mid-torso joint. He kind of just has like a hula hoop inside his belt, and it doesn't move a whole bunch. And then he's much wider at the middle, and so his shoulder width is also greater, and his arms don't move as much. Dodoria has this thing where he's like, I don't know, maybe 1.5 the width, but still about the same depth. And so he's a little bit more limited in the torso because of that, and I remember his legs are about the same as this too. But there's lots of reviews out there for those if you want to check them out and see, compare. Okay, remember in the anime when the fighting animation would just start looping? I found a pretty good loop of 19 fighting Goku, so I'm going to run through some of the poses from that. Get out of here. You're not on screen yet. Okay. So here is 19 doing kind of a high kick, and he's balancing pretty well while doing it, so happy with that. And then Goku's just trying to... So this is the part of the fight, it's kind of towards the beginning when Goku's not too taken out by the heart virus yet. So he's kind of got the upper hand for this portion, but get him in there blocking like that. I think that's about the way that frame looks. And next up, okay, so this is 19's side kick. Goku's blocking it here. And then we'll do his high kick, and Goku kind of ducks under it. This one, he's going to have a hard time with, I think. Yeah, that's just... he's going to have to kind of do a side kick and fake a high kick, and it's not that good of a high kick. I mean, in the frame that I'm looking at, his leg should basically be like that. So that's not going to happen. Next is a punch, and this one he's going to be fine. Throw in the punch like this. Twisting around. And this one, Goku kind of steps back to dodge. Go ahead and put him on the toe hinge there. Turn him a little bit. There we go. Goku's kind of stepping back to dodge. Okay, next he's going to do the arms out, crouching down, energy wave kind of thing. So that is like a T-pose. Alright, so this one, he's kind of leaned forward. His legs are out. Okay, Goku blocks this one. Like so. Okay, rising knee, he's not doing it. I can tell you. because that knee does not rise. Okay. Let's do kind of his, I don't know what you call this punch. It's just kind of an uppercut punch. Throw up that shoulder. Plant the back foot on the toe. Twist, twist at the waist. Bend this knee. Pull this arm back. Yeah, you want to be careful not to over-rotate him at the waist, just so that you don't accidentally like scuff up the belt with his vest, because the vest is kind of a hard plastic, similar to the waist and the inner knee. That's a softer. So, yeah, just be a little bit mindful. Only rotate him so far, and then don't try to push it anymore. More like this. But the legs are limiting him a little bit. But, I mean, main thing is you want his spine tilting forward with this one. Probably more like that, with that leg still back like this, but it's not gonna go there. You would really have to rotate him, and he kind of does hit a limit, like around 45 degrees, just due to the difference in his width and depth. All right, next, one last kind of kick. This one he might be able to do pretty well. It's kind of a another kind of side kick, like this. And this one, I think the main problem again is to do this, I mean, he needs to get his leg like closer to his chest. Yeah, that one's not gonna happen either. Okay. It's not the most posable figure on the shelf or in the collection, but he looks really good. And of course, Toriyama's editor, while he was writing the manga for Dragon Ball Z, famously shut down this concept for the two androids that Trunks warned about. They were originally supposed to be Android 19 and 20 as they appeared, and editor thought, I guess, they weren't scary enough villains, and so back to the drawing board, came up with 17 and 18. A couple of teenagers, still not scary enough, and that's where the concept for Cell came from. And if you remember Cell's introduction, it's like almost like a horror, kind of slasher horror film. And I think that 19 has some kind of underrated horror potential. It never really got a chance to be portrayed due to how quickly he's kind of disposed of. Had Toriyama had his way. I don't know if this is exactly what he had planned, if he meant for 19 to be more of a horror character like Cell. I mean, the introduction to the androids is quite scary sounding, and if you remember like the way they're depicted, it's pretty dark. So, you know, there's there's plenty of horror out there that feeds on the idea of like creepy dolls. I think 19 fits in quite well with that in the right circumstances. Part of what gives him that like horror potential in my head is the voice they used in the English dub of the anime. That could have been a very unsettling voice, also in the right sort of circumstances. So it's just kind of like that high-pitched monotone. DBZ abridged had a much different take on him as sort of like old operating system. He's a really well-made figure. I can't wait for Android 20 to go with him. I'm kind of curious if they're going to make 17, 18, and even 16 again. I was thinking about it, and I think that 18, I would really like her Cell Saga costume with the jeans and the black vest. But 17 doesn't have a Cell Saga costume other than just like battle damaged, maybe. 16 doesn't really need another version to me. Maybe if they just reissued the existing one. But they already they've issued him twice now, the original and then the Comic-Con exclusive last year. And I mean, that figure still holds up to me. I think it's great. So really, I think like essentials for Android Cell Saga, Android 20 already coming, 18 in the jeans and vest, and then second form and perfect Cell. Oh, Cell Jr., how can I forget? A lot of people I've seen comments about people wanting Cell Juniors with another character. Just no, not like that. He needs to be a standalone so that you can buy a couple of him, because there's 7 or something, right? 7 or 8, I forget. I think there's technically 7 shown, like being born, and then Gohan destroys 8. I don't know. If they made that a 4-pack, I think a lot of people would buy 2, especially if they give him all kinds of goofy faces. And that rounds out your villains. On the hero side, I think we're pretty much just looking for, I mean, with Gohan announced recently, which looks amazing, by the way. I'm really happy with the way they set up the cape with the cloth wire piece and then the plastic collar. That's exactly how I have my custom Piccolo cape set up, and I think that works best because you get the sculpt detail in the collar and then the posability where you need it. If you want to see that, go check out the community feed on my channel. I posted a picture of it a little while back. Let's see. Other than that, I think like a slightly battle damaged Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. They did the full battle damaged version, and then they just did a Comic-Con exclusive of that. So I think people might be a little salty if they do exactly that on a new body. But something more like Beast Gohan, where it's just like slightly torn, but it's not all the way ripped off his shirt, that is. Maybe just a few tears and holes in his shirt and pants. With an updated Super Saiyan 2 head sculpt, maybe a base form head sculpt could be cool. I wonder if they're going to do an updated version of this Goku, because I think this is technically like Cell Games Goku, but he is not the best release So, a 3.0 Cell Games Goku that kind of doubles as a early Buu Saga Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2 Goku on 3.0 body would be pretty cool. Hopefully if they make a 3.0 Super Saiyan Vegeta, it would be really cool for them to do a Super Vegeta where he's kind of buffed out and he has like more of the blown back spiky hair. I think this head sculpt works really well for like first appearance Super Saiyan Vegeta, early Android stuff. He has this kind of softer hair sculpt, a little more curved lines, less sharp angles, less segments. So that works really well. Don't know why they didn't give him his white tipped boots. They have the mold, but I guess they're using it for Namek Vegeta now, so maybe that's why. But yeah, Super Vegeta, or Super Saiyan Grade 2 or Grade 3, whatever it is, and then Super Saiyan Grade 2 or 3 Trunks, I think, are probably incoming at some point. But yeah, let me know what you would like to see in the Android saga. It's definitely not those guys that show up with Hercule to the Cell games. I think the driving school filler episode, that one I would take figures from, but the filler with those like wrestler guys, you can leave that out, I think. So yeah, let me know what you want to see in the Android saga. We're getting pretty close to rounding it out, though. I think we just need some of the heavy hitter villains and maybe some of the like higher grade Super Saiyan forms. I mean, a 3.0 Piccolo with a cloth cape like Gohan's, I wouldn't complain. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.